New Orleans superheroes. Hey geeks, welcome to my channel. I'm Trey Guillotine, and you're watching Daily Marvels, where I've gathered some of the Marvel news from the past week in one place just for you. We have a new promo for Cloak and Dagger. Joe Quesada has drawn up some new Defenders posters. Captain Marvel will be Nick Fury's first superhero. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it around so others can join in the conversation. The new promo for Cloak and Dagger focuses on the similarities and differences between Cloak and Dagger. We see them both having very different experiences. Like we see one of Cloak, he's walking down the street, I'm assuming going to school, and he's wearing this Letterman jacket, this purple Letterman jacket with SP on it. The jacket itself caught my attention just because I was wondering what school SP is. I can't think of any school in New Orleans that is SP. Originally, I thought just because of the color, because of the color purple, it might be a St. Augustine Letterman jacket, which is a school that I would imagine Cloak would be going to if you were in New Orleans. But chances are SP is just a completely made-up school. It's not a real school. It's the made-up school that Cloak goes to. And then for Dagger, we see that, her experience is very different. It's that, instead of her walking to school, we see her like pickpocketing someone, and we see the differences in their neighborhoods, in their lifestyles, but we do see that their similarity is that they've both lost someone. Now, the description of Cloak and Dagger is that it was a post-Katrina show, so it's possible that they lost someone in Katrina, in Katrina, or this is some other event in their lives. But I'm intrigued by the show. I'm more and more intrigued by the show, and I'm still very excited that it's taking place in New Orleans. New Orleans superheroes. Joe Quesada, who's one of the big creative heads at Marvel, has been drawing up some posters for the Defenders series. So far I've seen ones for Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil. So Iron Fist for season 2, it's just Iron Fist kind of like in a kung fu stance, and the two in front of him actually kind of looks like a spirit dragon or a dragon serpent, like you would see in Asian, Chinese or Japanese lore of like the kind of the dragon serpents. It reminded me of that, which I'm sure was probably on purpose. Jessica Jones is a lot more simple. It's just her face, which some of it is covered by her hair that blends in with the black of the background, and then her face looks cracked like a mirror or like shards of glass, which makes sense and kind of fits in with that feeling of brokenness for characters in Jessica Jones. Then Daredevil's actually focused more on Hell's Kitchen than Daredevil himself. The poster was it was just black and red, and it showed a street corner, and the street corner was Netflix and Marvel Avenue. But the street corner, and then at the top of the building, you see Daredevil jumping off. These posters look really cool. As of this time, I haven't seen one for Punisher, or Luke Cage, or even one for the Defenders series. Just for the individual series, individual series. But hopefully, he'll have one for Luke Cage and Punisher at least coming out soon, because they look awesome, and I would love to get these posters and put them as my backdrop. Nick Fury revealed in the first Iron Man, in the famous post-credit scene, which actually it's interesting how they did that scene, because they wanted to keep the presence of Nick Fury and Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury. They wanted to keep that a secret as much as they could. So when they filmed that scene, barely anyone was actually aware of it. They literally put Samuel L. Jackson in a car, drove him from like his trailer through the studio, whatever, onto set as close as they could get him to get on the set to film that post-credit scene where he reveals that Tony Stark, that Iron Man is not the only superhero. He's not the first superhero. Now, at the time, we thought that the other superhero that he could be speaking about was, chances are we figured there were many other superheroes or many other gifted people who acted as superheroes in his past, but we thought specifically maybe he was talking about Captain America, who was, the big superhero of the 1940s, 1950s, during World War II. And then we're not exactly sure when it was that Captain America was found in the ice and thawed out. So we don't know exactly when that would have happened. Then, going a little further, we could also think that he would be talking about Ant-Man, Hank Pym as Ant-Man. But I wonder if Nick Fury would be at the time that Hank Pym was acting as Ant-Man in the 80s against the Russians and during the Cold War. I don't think Nick Fury would have been a high enough rank in the military or the government or even SHIELD to be aware of the events of Ant-Man and what Hank Pym was doing. So it was kind of just up to question which superhero he could be talking about. Well, it looks like that's going to be revealed in Captain Marvel as this is going to take place, I want to say, in the 90s, and we do know Nick Fury and Maria Hill will be involved in the events of Captain Marvel. So it looks like Captain Marvel will be Nick Fury's first superhero. I'm wondering also if the events of Captain Marvel are, one, going to lead to him losing his eye. In Winter Soldier, Nick Fury revealed that the last time he trusted someone, he lost an eye, which is why he's not very trustworthy now. So I'm wondering if that's something that's going to happen in Captain Marvel, which, as I understand, the villains of Captain Marvel will be a alien race known as, I think, the Krull, and that they're shapeshifters, that they can look like someone else. So a lot of speculation is that he's going to trust someone who he isn't aware is a Krull, and that's going to lead to whatever conflict that loses his eye. I'm also wondering if this is going to lead to Nick Fury becoming the director of SHIELD. If at this time, if Nick Fury is just a SHIELD agent, we actually saw, I believe, the director of SHIELD in the 80s, which was Rick Stoner, who was played by Patrick Warburton. I'm wondering now if Patrick Warburton will be playing General Rick Stoner in Captain America and something happens to him, which would leave the director seat open for Nick Fury to become director of SHIELD. That's an interesting thought. I didn't think of that. We saw in the season 5 part 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just recently that Patrick Warburton played former director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Rick Stoner in the 80s. So maybe we'll be seeing that in Captain America. That would be really cool. What the actual events are going to take place, we don't know. This movie's still a little bit of a ways out. But it looks like that Captain America is going to be Nick Fury's first superhero, and we may actually see the events that lead Nick Fury to becoming the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I would love to see Patrick Warburton as Rick Stoner in Captain Marvel. What do you think of these Daily Marvels, and were there any news stories you'd like to talk about? Let me know in the comments and follow me on all the internets. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to check out my reviews for Marvel TV shows and movies, go to www.TreyGuillotine.com and subscribe to my channel to geek out some more. Thanks for watching, and have fun.